Cassie, a high school senior with a nose for the macabre, was obsessed with the unsolved Zodiac killer case. Halloween night, while her friends partied, Cassie snuck out to the Presidio Heights, a location linked to one of the Zodiac's cryptic ciphers. Armed with a flashlight and a notebook filled with theories, she felt a thrill course through her. Suddenly, a chilling breeze whispered through the cypress trees, rustling the leaves into a frenzy. A tattered newspaper clipping depicting the infamous Zodiac symbol fluttered past her face, landing at her feet. Her heart hammered against her ribs as she bent to retrieve it. As she unfolded the brittle paper, a single sentence, scrawled in a familiar, jagged handwriting, sent a jolt of terror through her. "The game has restarted." Panic surged through Cassie. This wasn't some Halloween prank. The Zodiac, a phantom who haunted San Francisco for decades, was back. Fear turned to morbid fascination as she noticed a faint trail of glitter leading deeper into the park. Curiosity burning bright, she followed the shimmering path, adrenaline masking the gnawing fear in her stomach. The trail led to a secluded clearing bathed in an eerie moonlight. In the center stood a lone figure, shrouded in a black cloak, the Zodiac symbol emblazoned on its back. As Cassie approached, the figure turned, revealing a blank white mask with 2 empty eye holes. A voice, distorted by a voice modulator, echoed, "So, you've decided to play my game, little investigator?" Terror threatened to consume Cassie, but a spark of defiance ignited within her. She wouldn't become another victim of this twisted game. Weeks turned into months, filled with cryptic messages, taunting riddles, and a growing sense of paranoia. Each new clue led Cassie deeper into the Zodiac's web, uncovering hidden connections and a chilling realization. The killer was closer than she ever imagined. With the help of a reclusive cryptographer, a man haunted by his own past encounter with the Zodiac, Cassie deciphered the final message, a location and a date. Armed with her wits and a newfound courage, Cassie confronted the Zodiac at the designated spot, the abandoned Alcatraz prison. A tense standoff ensued, the air thick with anticipation. The Zodiac, cloaked in shadows, challenged Cassie to solve one final riddle. As she cracked the code, a gasp escaped her lips. The answer pointed to a hidden chamber within the prison, a long-forgotten cell rumored to be the Zodiac's personal hunting ground. With a surge of adrenaline, Cassie and the cryptographer raced to the chamber, hoping to find evidence before the Zodiac struck again. Inside, they discovered a wall plastered with newspaper clippings detailing unsolved murders, each bearing the Zodiac symbol. However, one detail sent shivers down their spines. The victims were all people connected to Cassie's life, seemingly chosen at random. The horrifying truth dawned on them. The Zodiac wasn't just playing a game. He was creating a legacy, a chilling performance piece with Cassie as the unwilling lead. Before they could react, a figure materialized behind them, the white mask gleaming in the dim light. A scream died in Cassie's throat as the Zodiac lunged, a glint of metal catching the moonlight. The climax of the story is left open-ended, allowing for a sequel or the reader to imagine the outcome. Did Cassie and the cryptographer escape the Zodiac's clutches? Did they find a way to expose the killer and bring him to justice? This chilling tale explores the allure and danger of true crime obsession, leaving the reader questioning the line between curiosity and obsession. "16-year-old Melody, a budding jazz musician with a fascination for the macabre, was obsessed with the unsolved Axeman of New Orleans case. In 1919, a series of brutal axe murders terrorized the city, with the killer leaving behind cryptic jazz music demands in newspapers. Melody, drawn to the unsolved mystery and the haunting melodies associated with the case, pored over historical records and newspaper archives. One sweltering summer night, during the annual New Orleans Jazz Fest, Melody found herself drawn to a dilapidated jazz club tucked away in a forgotten corner of the French Quarter. The club, shrouded in shadows and adorned with faded portraits of forgotten musicians, emanated an unsettling aura. Inside, a lone figure played a mournful saxophone, the notes echoing with a strange familiarity. Melody, captivated by the melancholic melody, approached the stage. The musician, a gaunt man with eyes that seemed to hold 1,000 secrets, stopped playing and fixed her with an unnerving stare. He introduced himself as Alistair, a name that sent a shiver down her spine. It was the alias the Axeman used in his letters. Dismissing the coincidence as a morbid joke, Melody continued visiting the club nightly, drawn to Alistair's haunting music and cryptic conversations. He spoke of a time long gone, of a city shrouded in darkness, and of a melody that demanded a sacrifice. Melody, fueled by a morbid curiosity, began to transcribe his music, the notes resonating with a strange power. One night, as Alistair played a particularly disturbing melody, a wave of dizziness washed over Melody. When she opened her eyes, she found herself transported to a blood-drenched nightmare. The cobblestone streets of the French Quarter shimmered under a sickly green light, and the air hung heavy with the metallic tang of blood. Shrieks pierced the night as shadowed figures, wielding gleaming axes, stalked the streets. Melody found herself witnessing the Axeman's attacks firsthand, the terror of the victims palpable. Alistair, cloaked in darkness, orchestrated the chaos, conducting the murders with his haunting music. As dawn approached, Melody snapped back to reality, the horrifying scene etched into her memory. Horrified by the experience, Melody knew she couldn't ignore it. The music, a tangible link to the past, held the key to stopping Alistair. With the help of a local historian, she delved deeper into the Axeman case, uncovering a chilling truth. Alistair was not the original Axeman. He was a descendant, a vessel chosen to carry out the killings through the power of the cursed melody. Melody realized the music wasn't just a demand. It was a control mechanism. By playing a counter melody, she could disrupt the Axeman's hold on Alistair and stop the murders. The climax arrived on the final night of the Jazz Fest. Melody, armed with her saxophone and the counter melody, raced to the abandoned club. Inside, Alistair, eyes glazed over, played the Axeman's song, ready for the final kill. A desperate battle of musical wills ensued. Melody poured all her fear and determination into her counter melody, the notes clashing with Alistair's macabre tune. The air crackled with energy, the very fabric of reality seeming to warp. Finally, with a heart-wrenching cry, Melody overpowered Alistair's music. Alistair collapsed, the Axeman's hold broken. The horrifying visions faded, and the club returned to its previous state. The police, alerted by the commotion, arrived to find a shaken Melody and a mumbling Alistair. Alistair was apprehended, his fate a chilling reminder of the Axeman's legacy. Melody, forever changed by her experience, continued her music, but a somber note now resonated in her melodies, a constant echo of the Axeman's victims and the power of music, for good or evil. Sarah, a history buff with a penchant for the paranormal, dreamt of visiting the Lizzie Borden house in Fall River, Massachusetts. The unsolved murders of Andrew and Abby Borden, allegedly committed by their daughter, Lizzie, had captivated Sarah ever since she was a child. Finally, on a crisp autumn day, she found herself standing on the doorstep of the infamous house, a shiver running down her spine. The tour guide, a woman with an unsettlingly cheerful demeanor, led them through the meticulously preserved rooms. Sarah felt a strange presence, a heaviness in the air that intensified as they entered the guest room, the scene of Andrew Borden's murder. A cold draft seemed to emanate from the blood-stained floorboards, sending a wave of nausea through her. Later that night, staying in a nearby bed and breakfast, Sarah had a terrifying dream. She found herself transported to the Borden house on the day of the murders. She witnessed a chaotic scene, a frantic Lizzie arguing with her father, followed by a blood-curdling scream. Then, inexplicably, Sarah awoke in her own bed, a chilling feeling of dread lingering. The following days were filled with unsettling occurrences. Sarah kept catching glimpses of a woman in a blue dress flitting through the hallways of the bed and breakfast. The scent of lilies, Lizzie's favorite flower, seemed to follow her wherever she went. One night, unable to sleep, Sarah snuck out and ventured back to the Borden house. The moon cast an eerie glow on the house as Sarah peeked through a window. She saw a figure, shrouded in darkness, standing in the room where Abby Borden was murdered. Panic rising in her throat, Sarah stumbled back, knocking over a flower pot, alerting the figure. Before she could run, a gloved hand reached out from the window, its icy touch sending a jolt through her. In the following days, Sarah's behavior grew erratic. She became obsessed with the murders, convinced the ghosts of the Bordens were haunting her. The once cheerful girl became withdrawn, haunted by the vision she witnessed. Determined to unravel the truth, she delved into historical records, uncovering a shocking detail. The original autopsy report on Abby Borden, mysteriously missing from official archives. With the help of a local historian, Sarah discovered the report revealed Abby died from a different murder weapon than previously believed. This revelation opened a whole new line of investigation, casting doubt on Lizzie's guilt. Guided by the ghostly visions and the hidden report, Sarah pieced together a chilling narrative. Lizzie wasn't the sole perpetrator. There was an accomplice. The accomplice, a close family friend, was driven by a long-held grudge against the Bordens and Lizzie's perceived arrogance. On the day of the murders, the accomplice committed the crimes, framing Lizzie by planting evidence. Sarah knew she had to expose the truth. Gathering her courage, she contacted the authorities and presented her findings. A reinvestigation was launched, finally bringing the accomplice to justice. However, the experience left an indelible mark on Sarah. The ghosts of the Bordens may have been appeased, but the chilling touch of the past remained, a reminder of the dark secrets that can lurk beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary lives. Until next time, friends, good night.